Hey YouTube world, and hey to my Neville Nation. I know you're out there. Welcome to Neville Girl Forever, or welcome back. And on this channel, we discuss and explore everything Neville Goddard and anything related, and we make our dreams come true. So, I wanted to continue on today with the topic of the Delulu state. And this is my third video. I think I'm going to make it into a full series and keep going with it, because if you watched my last video where I was giving my actual formula, if you watched it, you will have noticed I spend a lot of time in my state of wish fulfilled, and I'm using multiple techniques. Not every technique is going to work for everybody, but I use multiple things and I layer it throughout the day, into the evening, do my sets at night. And my goal, and I'm going to pose this as a challenge to you all, is how long can you stay in your state of delusion, your Delulu? And we're going to go over that more specifically today, of why it's so important, and tie it all in with Neville Goddard and what he was talking about. And I think you'll see from when we tie it all together, it is really important. And I think 2 or 3 videos back, we were talking about the state of being in Barbados. That's a great metaphor, and we'll cover that some more as well, because we're going to dive into it, but you really want to dive into your dream life and stay there. So let's dive in and say, today I want to start off by saying, hold every thought captive. And why, and also just to discuss why affirmations are so critical for the Delulu state and being delusional. And we're going to use a quote by Neville Goddard saying, "You change your future best when you are in control of your thoughts while in the state akin to sleep," the SATs. And that's true. I think we've discussed it before, but as a recap, it's really good to have your 1 to, I don't know, maybe 10 different movie series that you wish to play as a loop in the evening. I put them on index cards. I don't want to forget. And once you've done it enough, it's when we go into SATs, since we are one with God, universe, spirit, and the part of us that is God is our wonderful imagination. So when we go into those states and you become really familiar, it'll be difficult at some point to actually forget what your movies are. But say you're introducing something new. You just want to be really clear and select what you want. And we can choose anything. There's nothing too outrageous unless you just could not possibly align with it at all energetically. Nothing's too outrageous. And I know that sounds like a tall order, because there are things that we will not be able to align to. But if you can think of it, if you could imagine it, if you could conceive of it as a possibility, then that, my friends, is an option for you, for us in the multiverse. If you can conceive of it, you can have it. So that's amazing news. So, but I want to rephrase that quote from Neville, because I also would say, I would re-say it this way, that working with Neville and Law of Assumption, we learned that the whole thing about Barbados, that you not only change your future best when you're controlling your thoughts during SATs, but throughout the day, throughout your waking state, because once you do your SATs, and once you've gone to the end state, on any given topic, and it feels amazing. That's why when I do hear people say they go for and do it for like maybe 5 minutes. Well, when we love something so much, like when your dream state, your dream life that you're visualizing in your SATs, if it feels that amazing, I know that I don't want it to end. So, eventually you do drift off to sleep, but my goal is to stay there, familiarize myself. I love it, right? It's just what's in my heart, right? So it's something that feels so amazing. You become familiar with that life, and that actually is realer if we're going to go with the idea that we are living in a matrix. That is realer than our everyday waking life that we wake up to. That's just old news, old energy. As Neville would say, it's shadows of our old self. And those things have to work themselves out. So you really want to become familiar. It's not really a chore. Like I said, some people might think, oh, wow, that's a big to-do list of things if you watched what my formula is, but it's self-love. I love myself. I love my dreams. And I know you do too. So that's why we're here. So with the Barbados thing, like whatever your Barbados is, when you're awake, it's so critical to hold every thought captive, because really it's feedback about your vibration and your thinking process on any given topic. Whatever your thoughts are, those are your habitual thoughts. And so you have to see, does it match up with your dream state? And I'll kind of flip it around. If you watched whenever I'm going to be sharing a personal story, so I can kind of demonstrate and share what's going on, especially if it's something I use Law Ascension to work through it. I'm going to just call it like story time, so that you'll know that I'll be sharing a personal share. So anyway, when we have things that come up, we will have things, especially while we're kind of purging out our old thinking patterns. And so it's so important to, in the face of things that come up that are undesirable, to acknowledge it as feedback. Don't freak out. And then realize that you can pivot on any given topic. If there's something that comes up where it's like, oh gosh, things just don't work out, this is just a pain in the butt, does your end state person think like that? If you were living your dream life and you had jillions in the bank and you lived in your dream house and you had your SP, you probably would feel a little bothered with a blip across your screen, but you're going to feel so fulfilled and your life is going to feel so amazing and juicy and delicious that there's just going to be blips on the screen. And so when topics come up, that's what I've been trying to work with, even personally myself, blips on the screen. And then if something comes up, it's like, oh, okay, I didn't realize I had some stinking thinking on this topic. So I feel like when I came across the topic where people started to talk about the purge, I feel like that's what I can relate to. You can have a lot of amazing things come up, but then you're going to have some blips come across your screen. You're going to have a topic. I also call those kind of hot topics where it's like, oh, the feedback is this is in my mind. And so our job is to clean it up and focus more on our dream life and our dream person, our perspective of how would our dream self handle any given situation? What they're thinking. Is it going to be system critical, big deal, or is it a blip on the screen? So anyway, so if you're anything like me, when I was working with the law of attraction, I used to think that just a few good thoughts, a few favorite affirmations on a topic, life would be so amazing, right? I mean, I just went out of my way to find the perfect affirmations, so on. I think when earliest videos, I said it was hit and miss. Well, when we realized that, well, first of all, no, life wasn't amazing. I did have hit or miss successes for sure, but I got disillusioned because a few cute affirmations here or there, it's just not going to cut it. It's just not. It's nothing like the end state. That's why I was so thrilled to come across Neville Goddard and how he teaches. It's so simple in a lot of ways, because he makes it so like most of us can daydream, and most of us have dreams in our heart where we can go to sleep and you would want to dream about something like that. So it's a great place to start and realize that we're creating our reality when we do it. So our goal throughout the day, and and this is what I realized, and it wasn't even from watching other videos. I just realized I felt so good in my sats, in my end state, and I became familiar with these feelings that were so yummy, juicy, and delicious that when during the day, whether it was a good day, bad day, neutral, I wanted to recall those feelings because they're so amazing. And then it became aware that they were starting to become habitual. And that is really what anything else is like. You know, we habitually have thoughts. And so what are your habitual thoughts? Is it about just the day-to-day stuff? Are you focusing on the issues of the day? I mean, you might have to for a moment, but our energy, our focus is our energetic currency, let's just say. And so are we going to focus on our dream life and kind of think and move through life from the end state, from the state of wish fulfilled? Or are we going to just, you know, double down on issues, problems, you know, because the mind wants to do that. The ego wants to just hold on, take everything captive and solve it. But the best solution is actually to go to our happy place, have our mantras that serve us well, you know, even if it's just like a blanket statement. Isn't it wonderful? Everything is just wonderful. Or, you know, things are always working out for me. The universe is always conspiring to assist me with my goals, my hopes, goals, and dreams. Not into panic mode. So living from the end is really where it's at. And it does take practice. But again, if you're anything like me, when I did that and I felt those feelings, it felt so good. Why wouldn't I want to spend more time on that than day to day, blah, blah, blah. It just became a natural instinct and desire. And then I realized that really, as things were unfolding and just all these magical things were happening, I realized that is kind of how you do it. That is the manifestation. And as Abraham Hicks would say, and I love that I did study with Abraham because there's so many similarities. They just say things very differently. And for me personally, Neville was easier to implement versus just hearing a bunch of processes. It was easier for me. But Abraham Hicks would say that our feelings and our emotions, it's not only feedback, but those emotions, especially what we feel in SATs, that is, if we're going to talk about birds before land, that is the first manifestation. That is it. When we have come into alignment with the amazing feeling that it feels like to have millions in the bank, to have our dream car, to have whatever, your dream body, your SP, whatever that is, that feeling is the first part of manifestation. It is the manifestation itself. And that's what Neville was saying too. But I loved hearing that is a manifestation. Then we just have to wait, just like Neville said, you know, I love using the analogy of just being our Barbados. Because why else would the story of Neville trying to get back to Barbados from New York and working with Abdullah, his mentor, just be recounted and as being so important? And it's because if you know the story, you'll understand. And if you don't, his mentor, they were talking about getting Neville back to Barbados. He had no idea how he was going to do it. He didn't have much money, and Abdullah wasn't going to discuss you know how you call up with a friend and say, here's all the reasons why this can't happen kind of thing. Abdullah would just slam the door on him saying, you are in Barbados. As a matter of fact, you're going first class. Door slam, end of conversation. In other words, there's nothing else to select in our multiverse other than what we want to. We can, but for me, you know, I did an analogy with a car. You know, if you're thinking about your dream car, and I wish I had the little example where it's like a circle, dream cars in the circle, and all these little lines coming out about the options of your selection of you that you want to live out in our matrix in the multiverse. There's one with you where you have your dream car. There's one where you won the dream car. There's one where you don't have a car. There's one where you do have a car, but it's not your dream car. There's a million versions of you. The beauty is that we get to select what version we want to experience in the multiverse. And it takes a minute. You wouldn't want all of your thoughts just to come crashing into manifest. That would be amazing and horrifying all at once. So it does take a minute, and I think that's a good reason. But we get to pick. So and it's not our job to figure out who, what, where, when, why kind of thing. It's just to know what we want. How does it feel to have it? That's what the SATS is super valuable for. And then becoming so familiar with that feeling that now our desire, and that's what was happening to me, my desire was to live in my Delulu state because it felt amazing compared to some mundane thing during the day. You know, I still take care of business, but in between the cracks of my whole day is focusing on that version I want to experience in the multiverse. So that's why I'm creating this series so that we can walk through this together. And some people might think it's excessive, but try it out. I mean, that's what happened at first when things were crashing in on me before I discovered Neville. It felt so good to discover the thank you prayer and SATs and really get focused on it. And I intuitively picked up some other tools I'm going to share with you, especially when we go live, that just really helped set the stage and get that feeling, the mood. And that's why I did the mood thing as well. But I realized that it felt so much better than my everyday life, that why wouldn't I want to do that? And that I was suspending my everyday focus of reality and just getting super involved with my 3D, as it's so tempting to do some days. So that's why I love the blanket statements like, isn't it wonderful? Everything's wonderful. If there's something that's pulling on my focus that's super 3D driven, that is not where I want to go, I just pull back because I want to, by nature, we want to go back to our old thinking patterns. But no, we are now changed. We're transformed from our future version that we've picked, that we're becoming familiar with and aligning with, and that manifestation, those feelings, that's real. Remember, this is old energy. These are just shadows. So why let the 3D pull you in? So that's why I'm so invested on this Delulu state, because that's what I was starting to do without really understanding and knowing that much about Neville. And I was saying, oh my gosh, that's exactly what happened. I loved that version so much more than what I was experiencing, that it helped me transform so much. But even when you've transformed so much, there's always going to be something else that you're going to want to be manifesting and aligning with, and you're going to discover old thought patterns that you want to work your way out of. And that's where it comes into the focused affirmations and robotic affirmations. And that's why originally when I used to think with working with the law of attraction, a couple cute thoughts and a couple nice affirmations, well, that's not enough to reprogram the mind on a hot topic, one that's just, keeps on going crazy in your 3D world and, just bugging you. That's not enough to reprogram your subconscious mind. But focus affirmations and looping robotic affirmations. I love to use a couple other things. I need the mood state as well. That really enhances it all for me. So I become more in tune and aligned with throughout the day my dream version of myself, who would handle things differently and not be freaking out about things. So hopefully that makes sense. We're going to go over this over and over again. I'm going to show this a million different ways. And that's why I really wanted to do this more like a challenge. Because I asked you the question, how long do you think that you could go in this state of suspending your current 3D reality? You may want to try it for half a day. Try it for a full day. If you could do, like I mentioned before, like a staycation on weekends, I try and take a day. if I can, where there's nothing on the outside that's challenging me, and I can just simply think about my dreams and simply think about the things I'm satsing on and spend more time just dwelling in those juicy vibrations. I love to do that. So music helps me get there too, and we've talked about it. It's like whatever helps get you there, and that's what we're all here on YouTube. Anybody sharing the law of assumption, there's no one right way to do this, essentially, but we're giving you different suggestions. Not the same thing is going to work for everybody, but you might as well try out different things. And I know some people swear, oh, it's just affirmations. Oh, it's just this. I think it's everything. It's because we change. And so what our new decisions are going to look different. And I based it on something so practical. My dream life feels amazing. And at that time, my regular everyday 3D life was not feeling amazing. Simple choice. It was simple math for me. Anyway, so back to the same thing about the hot topics, the things that pop up. Again, Abraham is so similar to Neville in so many ways, except for Neville just went to the end, and that's the solution. And really, ultimately, that is. Go to the solution, but it is good to be aware that Abraham would say, if you want to know how you're doing on any particular topic, look around and observe the results. And again, don't panic, because you might be like, oh, there's this thing that just keeps bugging me. Just pivot it. It's such good feedback. It's kind of like any given topic. You could just say, you want the opposite. It makes you familiar. If you know what you don't want, then you know what you do want. And so you just pick the opposite end of the stick. If you don't like feeling like you don't have enough money in the bank account, well, don't think about, the current status. Think about the end state, because which one feels better, right? Like I said, it was simple math. It's delusional, absolutely. But that vibration of you appreciating and feeling amazing with all that money in the bank, your dream dollars feels a heck of a lot better, and it's going to be magnetic and helping draw and usher in your new end state, versus just thinking about what you don't have, how many dollars. I've heard stories where people screenshot their bank accounts and then they move the decimal. I actually did that too recently, just for giggles. But it's so, as you can see, and especially if you're listening to many of us on YouTube, we're all talking about different ways to stay in that delusional state. So, what else do I want to say about that? So I did mention my story time. So anytime I have something personal, I'm going to be sharing. I'm just going to be calling it story time. It's too cold right now to do car videos. I do enjoy doing the car video story times when something happens. I might, but it's getting cold. So our imagination, and this is the other thing I want to talk about when it comes to the Delulu state. And I don't think I've heard too many people talk about this too much, but I think it's important to point out that our imagination is not just limited to having and creating those vivid state akin to sleeps at night. That's not the only time we're imagining. Think about it. We think about things throughout the day. And that means every time we have a thought, which usually, by the way, when we have a thought, it conjures an image in our mind, whether we're aware of it or not. Unless you have aphantasia where you can't visualize. But even still, it brings an emotional state. And honestly, my clue is how I'm feeling. If something comes up and it becomes a hot topic and I'm like, oh, this doesn't feel good, that's my clue too. But so when we're talking about that we are one with God, and the part of us that is God is our imagination, that is not exclusive just to SATs. So that also gave me a clue as to not only does it feel better to be in my state of wish fulfilled on all these amazing versions of everything that I want to experience in my dream life, but I also realized that You know, during the day, I have thoughts. And so that's when we are thinking thoughts throughout the day, that's where affirmations, audios that you can listen to that are subliminal or just mood enhancing that keep you on that topic in a positive way that makes you feel good. Your feeling is the clue to where you are on that given topic too. So they all kind of go hand in hand. So not to make this video too long, but that's my challenge to you is know how you're feeling or thinking about a topic. Realize that your imagination is not just happening when we dream at night. I mean, I'm a big daydreamer. And I like to do it in between things. It gives me a mental break. Now I have a focused affirmations and daydreams that I do because I know how I want to feel. And those feelings are amazing. And so that's, like I mentioned, for me, as soon as I can start to tell that something doesn't feel quite right, that gives me a clue, oh, I need to find affirmations on this. I might want to do some robotics or listen to some subliminals because I want to feel like X about this. I want to feel like I'm crushing it. I want to feel like I'm experiencing the version of me in the multiverse that is enjoying whatever that dream state version is. So that's a really strong clue. So again, our imagination is not just for a nighttime thing. And so this came to me it just seemed practical at the time. And I explained to you why, because it felt so much better than what was going on in my real life. And it takes courage. But honestly, if you think about problems all the time, where has it gotten us? Like that was the other thing. I was like, well, where has like dwelling on how am I going to pay for this? Or, you know, wish I could do that. You know, those versions of me that I no longer associate with, they weren't getting me anywhere dwelling and thinking about it. But I realized when it was started to kind of really dawn on me from discovering Neville that just possibly being Delulu for a day or two or half a day so when I hear people say 10 minutes at a time, I don't know. That helps. I think anything helps, but like I said, I would pose to you, how long can you stay in the state of feeling the wish fulfilled? Because that is your new version of you that's trying to unfold as old energy is clearing out. So hold every thought captive or feeling, because thoughts and feelings are so related. And we were talking about replacing them and pivoting. So everything's feedback. So again, that's the one thing I had to learn is don't panic when things come up. Just have your affirmations, have those places that bring you to your happy place. Because again, dwelling on these things before never got me anywhere. What got me everywhere was focusing on my dream life. Being delusional, thinking of the most amazing possibility of the version of a current issue in the multiverse and me selecting it, that's what got me results. It didn't by dwelling and thinking it through and how am I going to make this happen or how am I going to get through this. That never got me anywhere. Being delusional totally did. And that's why I'm focusing so much on this. So choose wisely. Choose your dream life. Choose the version of you on any topic. And so I still catch these, and there's some things, there are going to be some story times coming up that I'm really looking forward to sharing that are personal, but I want to be intimate with you and share day-to-day things. Even though amazing things have unfolded into my life, I still have old shadow things that are moving out. I still catch some stinking thinking on a topic every now and then. So I guess that's what some people call the purge. But the more you purge that out, the more it's just all golden. And so it's all valuable. Anything that comes back to you, making you not feel good, or you realize, oh gosh, I've given you quite a bit of information in this video that will help navigate you. I'm hoping that is the goal. So choose wisely, choose your dream state. Because basically I know for me, nothing else will do. Nothing else feels as good. And that's why I am posing the challenge to everybody is how long can you do this? And you know, when you can't stick to the amount of time something comes across your radar, it's okay. This is just I guess the other way, and again, I don't mean to bring Abraham too much into this today, but Abraham does have some great ways of saying things that help make some tie things together with Neville. That imagine that there's a train track and there's two engines, but they're going in opposite directions. If they're both pulling, like here's your negative thoughts, here's your positive thoughts, here's your negative, like your, like, uh-oh, or there's your dream life. If you're giving them both equal amounts of playtime in your mind, you're at a standstill. So if you can let go of the negative thoughts and let your dream life engine, start to take off, you can start to move. And I would say that, I don't know the exact ratio. It's more just to have a comprehension, but it's to understand that if you could just get to the tipping point where you could focus over 50% of your time on your dream life versus the old negative patterns, the old negative thinking. I think we've been talking about ways to overcome that. If you could just do that, or even if you're not good at that yet, but just be delusional, that makes a big deal. Because think about it. When I was just doing those few affirmations and expecting so much to happen, because, when Law of Attraction broke out and there was a secret, and I was like, okay, well, where's all my stuff? Well, okay. But, I wasn't thinking and understanding even the science behind it, aside from anything else. Say I did these affirmations 5 times. Say if I was ambitious and did it 10 or 20 times, and say I did it a couple times a day. Well, how many thoughts do we have throughout the day? I might have on that topic had 30 more, 300 more thoughts, 3,000 more thoughts, just depending, right? I mean, that's how our mind works. It's trying to solve things. And so no wonder why a few cute affirmations wasn't cutting it because it was not getting me anywhere close to, like, if you've got the metaphor of the two engines on the train track, you're just not going anywhere. So that's why Delulu is so great. I mean, I love Neville, and Abraham Hicks has very, very similar, but Neville really helped because the end state is everything. That is who we want to be. And so, and it helps us break through the matrix, and it helps us realize that we're in charge and that we get to choose the version of us. And so I guess I'll say, yeah, you just decide what you want on any given topic, start doing your SATs, your state akin to sleep at night, getting super familiar with that, because it really is real. That's realer than what is happening now. But it doesn't feel like it at first. It can feel really real, and it should, because we're supposed to do it in the first person. So, you're not watching you on a movie screen. Just as a recap, you are in that movie interacting with people of, if it's your dream job, you feel yourself sitting at your new desk, with people, friends calling you and congratulating you. You see, what the lighting's like and how your desk is situated and if there's bookshelves and, just whatever. And you feel the amazingness of what it feels like to have your dream job, and how amazing, and the conversations you're having with your friends who are congratulating you, and, talking to or reading an email that is like, reviewing your bonus sign-on package or whatever it is. I'm just giving you an example, but you're not watching it from afar. You're opening up your email and, you're feeling the sensations. If there's like AC, you might feel a chill, or if there is, you can hear birds chirping outside. If there's a tree, just like it's super vivid. Again, I'm kind of just expanding upon this. And again, I don't want to make this video too long, but I do want to leave you with enough information from just, if you only watch this video, that you could literally take all of this and start to do what I started to do. And it wasn't very long at all. Honestly, gosh, I mean, I don't have a time frame because I didn't expect everything to come flooding into my life, but maybe a month, maybe a month and a half. And then, like I said, I've discovered where I have a hot topic, something's going on. I'm like, oh, I don't like how this feels. How come this happened? What am I going to do with it? But now because we've got the law of assumption. We understand our assumptions are creating our reality. If I don't like the assumption I have on a topic, if it's not making me feel good, it's a clue that I need to rework this assumption. I need a new thinking pattern. I need a new loop in my head. I need to do a new SATs. We can talk about revision sometimes too, but I feel like working on affirmations or robotic affirmations really can do a lot with that. But we will get into revision at some point too, because that's something I'm still working with. But yeah, so again, I hope this was helpful today. I hope this is a lot of knowledge you could take away and start to do a Delulu challenge for yourself. And then let me know, how's it going? Because I feel like it's a secret to the sauce. And like I said, I just stumbled upon it because my Delulu state felt so much better than what was happening in my world. And then now things feel amazing, but every day is its new thing. Old things are clearing out, and every new thing that floods into my world that is related to my dream state, we just want to welcome it with open arms and appreciate it for all it's worth. And there's always going to be more. So if you like this content, if this has been helpful, if you're going to do the Delulu challenge, please like, comment, subscribe. And I don't know where you are in the world today or what you're trying to manifest. I do hope you're having the most amazing day. And I'm holding the space that all of your dreams have already come true. You got this. And until the next time, bye.